And here we go. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Carson Meredith with you. It is 7:30 on the Saturday night, February 22nd. I hope you are well. I hope you've had a good weekend. I hope you enjoyed the slight warm-up that we had today. If you like today, though, you'll really like what we have coming up over the next few days. We are finally quieting things down, at least for now. So we'll talk about our next 10 days. A couple little bumps in the road that we're watching. Nothing of major concern. There are no alert days at this point, which is very nice. I feel like I live in a constant state of alert day. But we don't have anything like that anytime soon. So let's just jump right in. Let's actually lead off tonight with how things are standing on the river flooding. This is a live view of the Great Lawn. Obviously, the sun's gone down, so it's a little harder to see. But earlier this morning, the water was right about here on the Great Lawn. So it was about, I'd say, halfway up the lawn. You notice how it's kind of receded a little bit throughout the day today. So the water is going down on the Ohio. Slowly but surely. Remember, these bigger rivers that have been here on Earth for a lot longer, they ebb and flow a little slower compared to, let's say, the Kentucky River or the Rolling Fork River, things like that. But what is left behind is a lot of muck. A lot of muck and nasty debris. So there's going to be a lot of cleanup efforts needed on the waterfront, not just here in Louisville, obviously, but across all of our river communities in the days and weeks to come. So we're making progress on the the river situation. Temperature-wise, we are making progress as well, even if it didn't feel like it necessarily today. 37 is our current temperature here in Louisville. We got up to 39 today. Here's a closer look at the McAlpin upper gauge on the Ohio. Excuse me. This kind of, the McAlpin upper gives us an idea of what it means for River Road, primarily, right there in downtown. River Road, you still can't turn right onto River Road as you're getting off of 64 because the Ohio is still in flood stage. Now, it continues to go down, as we've talked about. In fact, it's right on the border tonight, with the latest update that just came in. It's right on the border of being at minor flood stage, which is where 3rd and 8th Street, River Road, that is, between 3rd and 8th closes. Frankfort Avenue, parts of it are cut off. Campbell Street, Mockingbird Valley, up there towards Prospect. So that's where things stand now, but we're likely going to fall below flood stage with the Ohio overnight tonight, at least here in Louisville. Further downstream towards Tell City in Perry County, it's still going to be above flood stage for a few more days, but at least here in the metro, the Ohio should be dropping here later on tonight, back below flood stage, but obviously the mess has been left behind. Let's go over to the comments, shall we? Appreciate you guys tuning in, even though it's a fairly quiet evening. Much quieter than last Saturday night, don't you think? I'm not complaining about that, by the way. Anita says hello. Hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you. Weather Geek says good evening. Saw the perfect meme. This is no longer winter. It is harassment. Indeed it is. It has been nonstop. But at least we have a little break right now. Neighbors serving neighbors over on YouTube. Appreciate you folks watching. Are we done with the snow? Can we put the shovel away? We are not done with the snow. We are done with it for the time being. For the most part, the next 10 days look snow-free. There's no winter storms, nothing like that on the table. There might be a couple little flurry chances I'll talk about, but that's the extent of it for now. So no shovel needed for the next 10 days. I'm not ready to say we're done with the shovel just yet for the entire season, though. All right. Eli's watching in Crestwood on YouTube. Michelle says hello from Webster, Kentucky. Ellen says hello. Nathan, hey, how was your unexpected snow? Yeah, that was tough. Well, I escaped. I feel guilty. I was off on Sunday. After that flooding, we had, of course, that quick burst of snow. I was scheduled already to be off on Sunday for other previously planned time off, and poor Tawana got stuck with that snow on Sunday morning. I feel so bad. But we all made it through. Carrie says, it's been a while since we didn't have an excited weekend. No kidding. I'm not complaining, like I said earlier. Good evening from DJ King. Hope you're well up there in Jennings County. Cameron says, just got some drone footage on the waterfront out there by Joe's Crab Shack today. Kind of close to where the Great Lawn is, obviously. Lots of trash and debris. Yeah, it's a mess. I hate it. It's terrible. We did run a story this morning. If you weren't up with us, they are organizing cleanup efforts along the waterfront here in Louisville Monday and Tuesday afternoon, I believe. So if you have the time, if you feel so inclined, I'm sure they would take whatever help you can give them. Angela says, hello. Carrie says, I assume they designed the Great Lawn to deal with flooding. I would imagine they designed it to where it could take the flood water. Yeah, I mean, how can you not, you know? I mean, I've lived here basically my entire life, so we've seen countless floods of the Great Lawn and Waterfront Park. So, yeah, I'm sure they designed it with that in mind, Carrie, no question about it. Michelle says the Brandenburg Riverfront is a mess. I don't doubt it. I mean, wherever there is a river, the shores are going to be a mess for weeks until we can finally clean all this mess up. And you couldn't really see it tonight, obviously, because it's now dark. But earlier today, not only was the Ohio just racing, but there was all kinds of junk just racing down the river with it. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. All right, more comments to come. Let's talk about tonight. As we mentioned, in general, the pattern is quiet for now, but we got some little bumps that we need to watch. One of which is tonight. The clouds have been stubborn, as they always are. Had a good bit of sunshine there around lunchtime. Then another deck of clouds moved in past 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. So that's been annoying, to be honest with you. But those clouds will clear out here in the next few hours. However, we're still tracking that chance for some fog late tonight. This does not look to be a widespread fog situation tomorrow morning. I'll show you a future cast for the fog here in a second. But as we start to get some warmer air moving in, obviously the ground is waterlogged, to say the least. That sets up a good recipe for that fog to develop in a few spots, especially where there's a little bit of a snowpack still left or where there's been heavier rain going back to last week. So there's going to be some patchy fog late tonight, early Sunday morning. Now look at the low temperature, 24, low 20s for most of us. If we get any fog, it could be freezing fog, which is where the moisture droplets in that fog might freeze on contact on a bridge or an overpass here or there, which might cause some slick spots. Now, I don't think that's a huge, significant travel issue. The roads tomorrow morning, for the most part, will be just fine. 99% of them will be fine. But if you're in an area that has fog tomorrow morning, and as you're getting out the door, just take it slow. Headlights on, cut your speed down 10, 15, 20 miles an hour, and make sure you're extra cautious on a bridge or an overpass, because there might be a slick spot or two with any fog that might develop. So that's our first little bump we're watching. Here's Fogcast, Fog Futurecast. And you notice it's very spotty, very isolated. Don't take these spots to gospel by any means. It just gives you an idea that it'll be very patchy fog. It will not be widespread fog. It may not even be too terribly dense. Visibilities will likely hover at worst around 2 miles, maybe a little less than 2 miles in a few spots. And as we get past sunrise, most, if not all, of that fog will start to lift. So just keep that in mind if you're out in your sunrise Sunday morning. The rest of the day tomorrow looks great. It looks fantastic. Tons of sunshine, and the warm-up rolls on. We're in the mid-40s tomorrow. 46. Still below average? Yes. We're usually around 50 degrees. But we're in the right direction. That's all you can ask for after what we've had the last couple of weeks. So I'll let that sit for a second while we look at some more comments. Kathy says hello from Fredericksburg. Cameron, is the GFS seeing the severe weather chances around the first week of March? Brian mentioned it a little bit. Yes, he talked about it yesterday, I believe. Yes, there is a potential for the first week of March to get some dicey weather around here. And I really think that's when things start to get active again. So we've got a nice 8 or 9 day stretch where things are fairly calm. And then first week of March gets interesting. I'll explain that more in the 10-day in a minute. But that's a good point, Cameron. Good point. Karen says, hey, in Elizabeth, Indiana, Cheryl still wants winter. Cheryl still wants winter. That's great. I'm not in your camp, Cheryl, to be honest with you, but it's not done yet. It is definitely not done yet. Sheila says, hey, Cheryl's watching us in Paoli. Appreciate you watching up there in Orange County. Let's see. Honestly, hoping we could keep the snow. Getting nervous with severe season. Yeah, and look, you hear all these predictions about who's going to be the hot spot for severe weather season this year. Look, there's a lot of noise out there, guys. There's a lot of noise. It's just really early to start talking about who's going to get the bullseye for severe weather this season and things like that. And we'll be here every step of the way. Every step of the way. We always are. Let's see. Austin's grateful for no snow and no severe weather next week. We need a break. We do indeed. We do have a rain chance to talk about by Wednesday night. And I'll touch on that in a moment. Here's our fogcast for Monday. So we talked about Sunday morning. There's going to be some fog. Very patchy, perhaps freezing fog if it's thick enough. But overall, it should just be a minor issue tomorrow morning. But this particular model has been very consistent now, going back to last night, suggesting widespread dense fog Monday morning under a quarter mile or less. These numbers you see are visibilities, fractions. Nobody likes fractions, let's be honest, but it's the best way to give you an idea of how foggy it might be when you're looking at that visibility. And you notice around 3 o'clock Monday morning, everybody, according to this forecast model, is seeing visibilities under 1/4 mile. That's maybe a block, a street block, but that's it. So if this happens, if this verifies and we wind up seeing this widespread dense fog Monday morning, we might have some visibility concerns for the Monday morning rush hour. Not alert date potential at this stage of the game. Some models say, hey, there's not going to be any fog issues Monday morning. But I show you this because it's been consistent now for about 24 hours that this model suggests we could have some very dense fog Monday morning. We'll watch it. You notice it kind of wants to linger towards maybe late morning on Monday. So we'll watch that closely. I think the worst of the fog is going to be if we have any Monday morning, but there might be some patchy stuff as we get towards Sunday morning. Sunday morning patchy, Monday morning could be more widespread fog. Okay, that's how things look at this stage of the game. But the thing that we're all going to enjoy, I'm going to enjoy, I hope you do too, is the warm-up. Finally. 60 on Tuesday. Models have been trending warmer and warmer with both Tuesday and Wednesday. So we go 40s tomorrow, 50s Monday, 60 on the dot Tuesday, and then low 60s on Wednesday. It still looks like Wednesday is going to be the warmest day of this upcoming week. The warmest we've seen since the first week of February. Remember that one random day we hit 73? That was nice. Nothing like that, but another little taste of spring that we can enjoy for the early part of this upcoming week. So let's see. Is next winter going to be this chaotic? Well, I just want to get through this winter first, to be honest with you. It's too early to talk about what next winter might be like. Maybe. I mean, I was caught a little off guard with how wild this winter was or is. So who knows? Derek says, bring on the spring flowers. 26 days away. 26 days away from the start of spring. Cannot wait. All right, so that's where we stand on the comments. Again, I don't really have a ton to talk about tonight, guys, which, I'm not complaining about at all. But we do have a system we're watching for the middle part of the week. This is going to be Wednesday evening. If you were watching us really the last couple of days, we had that small shower chance for Tuesday. Well, looking over the data today, that system is really drying up. It's not much of a cold front. It's pretty weak. It's technically a cold front, but it's not going to cool us down as much on Tuesday. There might be a few sprinkles Tuesday morning in southern Indiana, but that's about it. So my main focus now is going to be on Wednesday with this next round of rain. This will be a stronger cold front Wednesday night, giving us showers across the entire region as it moves through. Could there be some thunder? Yes. Is there a severe weather risk? No. So no severe weather threat on Wednesday night. If we get a little instability in our far southern communities, there might be some thunder, but even then, that doesn't look like a huge concern at this point. Now, the front moves through Wednesday night, early Thursday. Colder air moves in. We go from the low 60s Wednesday to near 50 on Thursday. As we get towards Thursday night, look up towards Chicago. You see all that wraparound moisture up there towards the top of the screen? That's going to try to make a run into wave country. Like so. This happens all the time. You guys know the drill by now. And as we get into Thursday night, notice how the moisture is pretty limited. So this does not look like, I guess a good analogy would be last Sunday. This is not like last Sunday at all, okay? There's not a lot of moisture with it, and we're warmer. We're warmer. I think there's a very good chance we stay above freezing on Thursday. But Thursday night, notice some showers are still around, at least according to the European model. This is the Euro. And if there's enough moisture still around, and those temperatures start to go back into the low 30s or the mid 30s, 33, 34, 35, I can't rule out maybe a couple of snowflakes Thursday night. But that chance continues to dwindle based on the trends I've seen today. We'll watch it. We're still, let's see, that's Thursday. So we're 5 days away still. Long ways to go. Long ways to get the adjustments nailed down, but it doesn't look like much, guys, just to be totally honest with you. So Wednesday night, rain with the cold front. Thursday, wraparound showers spinning in. And if there's still some showers around Thursday night, as we see those temperatures drop, there could be a few snowflakes. No accumulations, no impacts expected at this time, but we'll watch the trends in the days to come. You notice by Friday, excuse me, there's still some clouds around, but most of the precipitation will be gone. Here comes your 10-day. Isn't it nice to not see any red? Isn't it nice? Love it. 46 tomorrow. A lot of sunshine once the fog lifts. Really nice day. We'll watch that fog Monday morning. If there is going to be any red on our 10-day, it would be for that fog Monday morning. If it's extremely dense, fingers crossed it's not. But we'll watch the trends on that. 60 Tuesday, 62 on Wednesday. Wednesday night rain, cooler temperatures back down to the low 50s Thursday into the first weekend of March, which is next weekend. Saturday is March 1st, which is nuts. It's crazy. Now, you look at the end of the 10-day. Next Monday, March 3rd. Next Tuesday, March 4th. That's when the pattern gets more active again. The way it has been going, it's trending a little warmer, which would mean more of a rain and storms component as opposed to wintry weather. That's not me saying that we're done with winter, because I don't think we are. But as we get towards early next week, Monday in particular, next Monday, 9 days away, one system scoots through. Watch next Tuesday, March 4th. Next Tuesday, March 4th, could be interesting. Could be interesting when it comes to a storm potential. Too early for specifics, but Cameron was mentioning the GFS earlier. It and the Euro show that potential for rain, heavier rain, and maybe some storms as well. So that's kind of your first alert, your earliest alert for next Tuesday, March 4th. That's when things could get a little interesting around here once again. If you're looking for snow, because I know some of you still are, I get it, fair enough. Watch that Tuesday system next Tuesday for some wraparound moisture, rain to snow. And then as we get towards March 8th and 9th, maybe a little more wintry trouble. Rough idea of where things stand right now when it comes to the way extended beyond the next 10 days. So all in all, this week into next weekend looks fairly quiet, aside from that rain chance Wednesday night into Thursday, and some fog the next couple of mornings. Those are really the only two things we got to pay attention to this week. And then, excuse me, as we get towards the first full week of March, March 3rd, the week of March 3rd, that's when it looks like things will start to ramp up once again. I don't think we're done with winter, but we're slowly drifting out of the worst of it. We're on the downward slope of the mountain. The worst is behind us, but we're not totally clear yet. So there you go, guys. Keeping it shorter tonight because we can enjoy some quiet for the most part. Weather Geek has a serious question. Very sad about the flooding deaths we've had. Yes, it's awful. What can be done to improve the seriousness of flash flood warnings? Seems like they aren't taken seriously by a lot of people. And that's the problem right there. That's the problem. The Weather Service has done a phenomenal job in the last 10 to 15 years of really emphasizing the impacts of severe weather, not just flash flooding, but also severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. You guys have heard of tornado emergencies for those monster wedge tornadoes. Henryville back in 2012 was a tornado emergency here in our area. Of course, Mayfield back in 2021. But did you know that our Weather Service office here in Louisville was the first office in the country to issue a flash flood emergency? So you've got a flash flood warning, then you got a flash flood emergency for the most extreme flash flooding, right? That was on August 4th, 2009. Anybody that was around here that day remembers how insane that flash flooding event was. There was a thunderstorm, an August thunderstorm, Tuesday morning. I don't know how I remember that, but I do. Storm just parked right over the metro, right over Louisville, dumped buckets and buckets and buckets of rain for hours, and it was a disaster. Churchill Downs was flooded. The Derby Museum was flooded. U of L was. The can opener over there at U of L, of course, was flooded. My dad worked with... my dad was in law enforcement at the time. He was in training, and his cruiser was flooded. So it was just a that was such an extreme flash flooding event that the Weather Service at Louisville was like, okay, we've got to find a way to hammer this home that this is bad. So they issued a flash flood emergency. So they've done a great job of really emphasizing the impacts of significant flash flooding. The problem is, guys, the problem's us, as in us as humans. The Weather Service issues great warnings, flash flood warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, doesn't matter. Those warnings are useless if we don't pay attention to them. It's just the facts. And I know all of you guys watching me tonight pay attention to the weather, or else you wouldn't be here, right? But there's a huge portion of our population that just doesn't pay attention to the weather. They just don't. And you know, I could be here for hours talking about, you know, the social science of weather warnings and things like that. But the problem is people just don't take weather seriously. I think there's some sort of an invincibility factor where people are like, that'll never happen to me. That'll never affect me. Till it does. So anyway, that's my Cliff Notes version of what I think about flash flood warnings, Weather Geek. It's a good question. It's a very good conversation to have. The Weather Service, like I said, they do phenomenal with these warnings and issuing them, especially our office. We're blessed. We are very blessed with the Louisville Weather Service office. They're great people. But it comes down to us as the public listening to those warnings and taking them seriously. And there's some sort of psychological gap that we as meteorologists still have to figure out when it comes to making sure that people take these warnings seriously and how we get there. So good question, Weather Geek. Sorry, I didn't mean to ramble like that, guys. But that was a really good question. Austin says, that's a nice 10-day for the end of February into early March. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. No alert days. That's all I really care about, honestly. Do you think, Austin also asked, that we might be done with big snowmakers? It's too early to say. It's too early to say. That March 8th and 9th time frame I mentioned a few minutes ago, we'll see. It's got potential. I'm not saying it's going to be huge, but it's something to watch. I don't want to say we're totally done with big snowstorms just yet. I want to say that we're heading out of the worst of winter. That's how I'll say it at this point. Cameron asked, this never got answered the other day. Why can't local news stations issue warnings? Well, I don't want to say too much here, but as you guys know, there are 4 local television stations in town, us and 3 others. And we all think on the same wavelengths, we all have the same education, we have different interpretations of the forecast sometimes and what's happening and what's going to happen. And if it ever got to a situation where the Weather Service stopped issuing warnings and it was up to us, I think it would be a communication disaster, because you'd have one station saying one thing, one station saying another, and you guys would be so confused and we would be so confused. So that's why we leave it to the National Weather Service to issue warnings and we communicate them. Let's see. Vesey says that was a really good answer. Well, thank you. I mean, it's just, I'm very passionate about keeping people safe. That's our number one job, right? But I'm very passionate about people understanding how the weather is going to impact their life. And I don't think a lot of times in extreme weather, people understand, like, hey, this is a big deal and you need to pay attention. You might be lucky and not get any damage or anything like that, but you still need to be lucky because some of your neighbors might have problems. So I digress. So on that note, I'm going to wrap things up tonight. Appreciate you guys watching. Again, enjoy the warm-up we have over the next few days. We'll watch for fog tonight. We'll watch for fog tomorrow night as well. But really, we're going to keep things fairly low-key this week, aside from that rain Wednesday night and maybe a few showers into Thursday. All right, that's it for now. Appreciate you all watching. Good conversation. I will be back on TV tonight on Wave News at 11 and on Wave News Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Hopefully I'm awake, half awake. And back here on Wave Weather Now around the same time tomorrow night, probably a little earlier, maybe around 7 tomorrow night. So yeah, that's all I got. Appreciate you guys watching. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. Talk soon. Take care.